Hello and welcome to Play RP. I'm Oliver and I'm joined by Niall, Alex, and Lewis.
Hello,
Hello.
PT Army.
Hello, PTR. It's time for the PTR show, our bi-weekly news and discussion podcast. This time we're discussing Nintendo's new pirate-averse terms and conditions, Bungie stealing art, and video game movie adaptations. Do they always have to be shit? All that and more, but first, what have we been playing, fellas?
Beep boop boop. What have we been playing?
Cracking.
There we go.
Nice. We can start with
That's certainly a jingle.
It's his first time you've heard him.
Oh no, wait,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I think I've heard it. Yeah.
Now, what have you been playing?
Oh, what have I been playing? What haven't I been playing? That's a better question. No, so first of all, I've been playing Promise Mascot Agency, which is a game which I tried to get you to play, but it is way too weeby. I think Lewis and Alex might like it. But it's a game. So you're a Yakuza guy, and your Yakuza family is doing a deal with another Yakuza family in order to form an alliance and become stronger. But something goes wrong and you lose 12 million yen, I believe. It's 12 million. I don't know how much that is in Great British pounds, but 12 million yen. And so, as punishment, but also to save the family, you are sent to this town which no other Yakuza families know about, to run a mascot agency in order to get the funds together to stop the other families coming for you and killing you. Killing your family. So you get there and you're greeted by this mascot who's a giant pinky, called Pinky. And she shows you the ropes and how to run a mascot agency. And so you go around town driving a little car, getting mascots on board, making deals with them, sending them on jobs, saving them when they get into mishaps. Like there was one time where one of our mascots is called Tofu. He's a giant tofu that can't stop crying, and he got stuck in a normal sized door, and so I had to go in and save him. And the way you save them is through these things called hero cards, which you gain from speaking to people around town and helping them, and then they give you their hero cards, which you can play to save mascots from these things. Really, it's a game about community. Actually, like the thing is, you got to send this money back. There is actually a constant threat of a game over, but you just reset for the previous day. Where if you don't send enough money in time, the game ends. So you got to constantly be going to ATM machines sending money back. It's not that oppressive, especially later on. But it's all about revitalizing this town. It's the mayor is someone who's not very nice, and so the town's sort of deteriorated over time, and you got to try and rebuild it. Like I just recently done up the train station so we get more tourists in, but also it helps the town. And honestly, unironically, it's incredible writing. Like the writing is actually really, really good, and it's very, very funny. And the main character's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've not wrote off playing this entirely, by the way. I've got it installed. I have got it installed. It's just whether I actually want to take that plunge and do it, you know?
That's the thing. There's a lot of dialogue and therefore a lot of voice acting. There's no dub, but you legitimately can play the game on mute and it's completely fine.
Right.
You
can probably just turn down the voice, I guess.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the thing is, the economy system is so rewarding. Like you start off really, really struggling to do anything, and by the moment I'm on, I'm getting millions of yen constantly because I'm sending mascots everywhere, but I've got a bunch of passive income. Like the overlords of the mascot rating society keep sending me the different toys in order to distribute among town, but you have to first find them out in the wild because that's how they work, and then you have to use a claw grabbing machine in order to get them, and then you can distribute them. But yeah. You two are making funny faces. What's going on?
Because I put a trailer up.
Yeah.
It's definitely raised more questions than answers for sure. First of all, that Pinky definitely looks like a thumb. You know what I mean? It's got thumb energy about it.
Oh, you can go around town and you can pick up different nail art for her, and you can change a nail.
Right. I assume it would be a pinky because if it's based on the Yakuza, then it's because they cut off the pinkies
That's what the first thing he does is he cuts off his pinky in penance.
So I assume it is definitely a pinky and not a thumb, probably.
Yeah. But also, honestly, it is
Oh my
incredible.
god, look at Stitch.
Stitch is cool.
Well, yeah, no one can see that apart from you guys, but yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I've been playing other games as well. Usually you cut away from me at this point, but I've been playing other games.
No, I'm not cutting away. Feel free.
I will feel free.
I can cut away from you if you want me to cut away from you.
No, don't do it.
Okay.
So in fact, I'll leave Doom for other people because everyone's been playing Doom.
Okay.
Well,
cool.
in fact, it's just you. Alex
has played
Alex
some Doom.
played it.
I've also been playing a little game called Balatro.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
really?
it's a bit. I have. I've finished it. It's on my hand to beat. But yeah, it's bloody Moorish, isn't it? It's like a little bit of crack, isn't it? A crumb of crack a day.
A little bit of crack.
Yeah, a little bit of crack. But yeah, it's just fun on a bun. It's I don't like roguelikes, but I've really liked 2 in the past month, so maybe I do like roguelikes.
I was gonna say, maybe just a bad one.
What is Balatro a bad roguelike? Oh no, I've just played
before
bad
that.
ones. I thought, yeah. Well, I think what I don't like about roguelikes is I don't like my dexterity skill being the reason why I fail. I prefer just the grind of getting better, and then me getting better means that I'm getting better, and not just like, oh, I'm doing really well, but I didn't dodge 3 things, so now I'm dead.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, Balatro was also really good.
Jolly good.
And that's it. So
Lewis, what have you been playing, mate? What have you been playing, actually? I don't know what you've been playing.
Nothing. Yeah, it's gonna be incredibly disappointing. Unless I don't know if the last podcast I spoke about beating The Last of Us 2, but I beat The Last of Us 2. Outside of that, I haven't played anything because I've just.
You beat Expedition 33.
Oh yeah, Expedition 33. Did we speak about that in the last podcast? Was it?
I think we did, but
you must have finished Expedition 33 after Last of Us 2.
Yeah, I did. I just don't.
You had. I don't think you got past Act 2 in the last podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna do a full review of it at some point anyway. Once Alex has finished it.
Yeah. I guess I played Expedition 33 to completion. Great game. I won't speak about that too much because Alex hasn't finished it. And I don't want to go into story spoilers anyway. But yeah, I did beat Expedition 33. It's definitely a contender for Game of the Year. That's all I'll say. It's going to be very difficult for any game to beat it, just in terms of just like the sheer quality of it.
You haven't played Blueprint yet.
I don't think it's going to be Expedition 33. Maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I'll give it a go.
No, you are.
I will judge it
he's going to give it a proper go. Is what he's going to do. He's not going to do an Alex and give it 10 minutes.
I will give it a proper go. Yeah, I'll.
I gave it 44 minutes actually.
Well there we go.
Yeah.
But anything, it's going to be difficult for anything to match the quality of Expedition 33, I think, this year. But I'd like to be proven wrong, obviously. But yeah, outside of that, I just haven't been played much. There's been a lot of I'm gonna play this, but I'm not actually playing it. Mainly just due to the worry of the video game book club game that we're recording, and then the Switch 2 is coming out in a couple of weeks, and I think I'm just putting pressure on myself to beat stuff, but because I'm putting the pressure on myself to beat stuff, I'm not playing it.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those awkward things at the moment. But my intentions for what I am gonna play, at least moving forward, I can talk about that, is going to be Doom Eternal as well as Dark Ages. Because I've only played Doom 2016 up to this point. And then I'm gonna move on to God of War. Both God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok. Because I'm a PlayStation fan who's yet to touch either of those games, so that's what I'm going to be making my way towards next.
Yeah. Well, you got 2 weeks, so make sure you play something for next week. That's your own work.
There you
go.
Yeah.
Alex.
He's gone silent. He hated that.
Maybe I didn't like that.
Don't mention homework.
Maybe his headphones have died.
I got reminded of school. So.
Alex, what have you been playing?
It's pretty much what everyone else has spoke about. Expedition 33, Doom, Balatro. Expedition 33, fantastic game, love it. Doom, I've only played the first act, but probably speak about that more when I play more of it. And Balatro is literally just crack, and it stopped me playing from other games.
I need to play some of this Balatro.
Oh, it's good shit, man. It's good shit.
Well, I gave it a go and it just
Yeah,
didn't
crap.
click. It just didn't click with me at all. Don't know what
It
it
clicked
is.
with
Well,
me instantly in like the first like 10 seconds.
Well, I will say
Yeah.
that honestly, the first like 3 or 4 runs were a bit disappointing, based on what everyone's saying. But then it's when you start really unlocking stuff, and it gets a bit
Yeah,
crazy.
once you start unlocking all the different jokers and stuff, it's so good.
Yeah, because the Jokers themselves are very, very basic to begin with, like super
To be
simple.
fair, even later on, the thing is, at least from my experience, because I've unlocked pretty much every joke, I've unlocked most of the cards. The abilities never get that outrageous. You get some spicy ones for sure that definitely amp things up. In terms of just like the numbers that you get, but most of them pertain to just like higher multipliers. You don't necessarily get cards that completely change the flow of the game or completely change how the game works or anything. It's mostly just to do with multipliers and stuff like that, and seeing that number go bigger. That's the main addicting factor of the game. And I think it does that very well because it solely focuses on that. The mechanics really don't get that complex, which just makes it fun making the number go big because anyone could understand it.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of complaints from people who say that they don't want to play it because they don't understand poker or they don't like poker. You do not need to like poker and you do not need to understand it. It teaches you poker hands very, very, very well, and you'll remember them after a couple of runs. And if you don't remember them, you can just constantly look at what the hands mean. Like there's a quick menu you can bring up just to see it. It's just a good time, and I do recommend that anyone plays it if they're for some reason worried about it because it's poker. It's not poker. It just uses poker hands. It's not. It's nothing to do with the actual poker game itself.
Well, I've got
you
it in
just-
my head that it's a mobile game. I think that's the issue, and I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay a tenner for a mobile game. I think this is my biggest issue.
it's not a mobile game.
I know, but it's also free right now on. It's on Game. Is it on Game Pass? Is it on PS Plus?
And PS
It's on
Plus
PS
PlayStation
Plus.
Plus. I don't know.
and Game Pass.
Oh, is it?
It's on both.
I'm almost certain. On
There you
the,
go.
So yeah, maybe I just need
It
to
is.
give it a proper go on my PC. I've got nothing to play at the moment anyway because I've just finished Doom, and I am pretty much just waiting for the Switch 2 at this point.
The
Promise
thing is,
Mascot
well,
Agency.
there's no stakes either to
Yeah,
playing it. It's literally just boot up a run and it's 5 minutes. It's literally like quick as anything.
What is it with me and roguelikes and taking forever? Like each run for me is at least 45 minutes.
I think you're just slow
45
at games, Niall.
45 minutes?
Yeah, to get to like anti-8, it takes about
I
45
think
minutes.
the longest to get to like anti-8 for me, I think like the longest is like 25 minutes, like max.
I've
Yeah,
got to have
mine's
a
about
proper
20
think,
minutes.
mate.
What are you doing?
Just having a think, just making
having a
sure
think.
everything's good. I whip out the calculator and make sure I know what the
I was
score
gonna
is going to
say
be.
you like min maxing apparently. No, yeah, there's like no stakes if you just want to try it out. You just put it on. If the run ends, you can just boot up another one instantly. Like it really doesn't matter if you lose or if you win. It's just that easy to get back into another run. And you just don't have to really think about it much. I don't know. I'm very surprised. I know you tried it, but I'd be very surprised if you tried it again or actually committed to it and didn't at least like it. I understand not wanting to play it all the time, but I'd be shocked if you didn't at least like it a bit because it is just very addicting.
You know what I'm gonna do, Liz? I'm gonna play it right after we finish recording this podcast.
Play it
That's what I'm
right
gonna
now.
do.
Ooh.
Lovely.
I'm gonna give it a
What
go.
about Overwatch?
I don't know if we're gonna have time for Overwatch, but
We might have an hour.
maybe we'll see.
Who knows? What have you been playing, Oliver?
Cheers, Alex. I've been
No problem.
playing a little game called Doom: The Dark Ages, and Jesus H Christ, is that a good time? It's just, again, this is probably another one we're going to do a full review on. It won't be any time soon because we need to. Alex and Lewis need to finish it. I don't know if Niall, are you going to finish it?
Yeah, I'm on chapter 9, I think, at the moment.
Chapter 9.
it's
Yeah,
going
so
well.
maybe we'll have a 4-man for it. But
Yeah.
it is a fantastic time. It is, and this is going to divide opinions, but I think it is the best Doom that we've had in the modern era. It's just it is fantastic.
That's interesting.
Yeah, each one.
People are
has
saying that it's the worst.
Yeah, well, it all depends on your preference on combat. If you are more of a movement kind of guy, like the thing is because it's an arena shooter type thing. it should be based on movement. That's kind of like what they always have been. But like Dark Ages like flips it on its head, and you are a tank in this one. You're an absolute tank. You stand your ground and you fight. You don't run away. You don't run away from it. You face enemies constantly, and it's all about parrying and it's dodging and stuff like that. And it is a really great. It is my type of combat, especially coming off the back of Expedition 33 with the parrying and that. It felt really good. It felt really good to parry attacks, and it's like towards the end of Eternal, I was feeling like all the combat encounters over and over again. I was like, for fuck's sake, I just want to get to the end of this, because it just wasn't as fun. But with this, I was actively going out and fight, exactly as it was in Expedition 33. I was actively going out and finding combat encounters off the main path because it was that fun. Great time.
Very nice.
That is exciting to hear. But I mean, I also found out the other day from when I was looking at stuff is what people like about Doom is like vastly different from person to person.
Yeah.
I saw so many people talking about how Doom Eternal story is shit and Doom 1 story is really good. And when I was playing Doom 1, I did not once give a shit about anything to do with the story whatsoever. No. The story in my head of Doom is you are guy, go hell, kill demon, fun. But people get really invested in the lore and really care about it, and a lot of people hated Eternal because the story wasn't as good as the first game, and that's like insane to me.
Yeah.
Because it's just, who cares about the Doom story? But like people.
Anyway, we shall move on to the news.
Sorry, I was not ready.
Out with the olds, in with the news.
Cracking.
It's news time.
We're really got to tighten that up now. We need to get a soundboard.
I was not ready. That's all.
Right. Okay. So, firstly, I want to address a little bit of bad luck we've had. So, if you remember last PTR show, we were discussing the GTA 6 delay.
Oh yeah.
And I said on record that now that it's been delayed until next year, we are not going to see a trailer until the Game Awards. Pretty much the moment that we clicked upload on that video, they dropped a new trailer.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what the odds are on that, but they must be very hard.
It was really, really awkwardly timed.
Yeah. So I'm going to play the trailer now. We could do, I guess, a live watch along thing if you want. But I assume you've all seen it at this point. What are we thinking?
It was a bit horny, wasn't it?
It was GTA, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just looks like GTA. Like I'm not like disappointed or anything at all. Don't think that, but I think people, and I need to remember, there's a large subset of people who only play GTA and no other video game ever, and this is it. So it's probably blowing their minds. But I've been seeing people talk about this trailer like it's the most insane thing ever created, and no game has ever come close to what this looks like.
Did you not see the bubbles?
And it just looks like, yeah, I did actually. Yeah, I did see it.
The way the liquid's moving in those battles,
yeah,
it's not a cutscene.
Yeah, which isn't going to be like that in game. But yeah, people are anyway. Yeah, I think it looks like GTA. That's it. That's all I've got for you. The trailer didn't do anything for me in terms of impressing me. It very much looks like what I thought it was going to look like.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be GTA. Probably fun, I guess. I don't know. The trailer doesn't do much for me. I'm excited, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really care.
The one thing that impressed me, and I'm not a big GTA head, is that it turns out afterwards there was actually gameplay spliced into the trailer, and I, upon retrospect, could not find where it was.
Yeah,
which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I could not.
Do you know now? Where is the gameplay?
No, I do not know what.
No, I just because I saw the article. It said like or the trailer. I thought I said all of it, to be honest, but it said parts of it were filmed in game. Like a lot of this stuff is in game.
Yeah, so all of it's in engine, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so like it's a mixture between cutscenes and gameplay is what he said.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I found it hard to pinpoint gameplay exactly because it all just does look like cutscenes.
Yeah, the one thing I got from it is I think the two main characters that we see, the man and the woman, they seem a little bit more down to earth than the protagonists we've had previously.
What about Trevor?
Yeah.
He's definitely in the earth.
Yeah, they seem kind of less like caricatures, which makes me think maybe they're kind of leaning. Obviously, it's still going to be GTA, it's still going to be ridiculous, but we're leaning a bit more.
Well, are you guys familiar with Bonnie and Clyde?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a Bonnie and Clyde vibe without a doubt.
Well, apparently the something or other, but the new release date is tied into their death or something like that. It's like it's the same day. I didn't realize it died at the same time, but I heard something like that.
I saw something like it was like 13 years after. There was like something Red Dead 2 or something, and it was like 6 years after, and it was like exactly the date that they've said.
Right.
Pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
If only we had like an actual understanding of what we're talking about, that'll be good.
it's crazy. No, I just remember reading it. Saying, I'm gonna have a look.
I remember seeing something one time years ago in a book somewhere.
Yeah, it turns out it's just on TikTok. That's always the case. I read something somewhere, and it's just on TikTok.
But yeah, I don't know. The trailer, I'm hyped at 112 million views. You know, Jesus. The trailer to me didn't really do anything more than the first one did for me. Like it just looks like GTA 6. It'll be cool when it comes out. That's about it. That's about as far as it goes for me.
Yeah.
And I'm very
Found it.
excited and very happy for the people who saw this trailer and it changed their life. Like it literally sent them to like a different realm. But it's just GTA, and it's just yeah.
It's just,
gonna
yeah.
be
I'm excited. I'm excited to play it. Go on, Alex.
Yeah, so I found it. So Rockstar teased the date of GTA 6 in Red Dead Redemption 2, apparently. There's a song called Red in Red Dead 2, and in there's a line in it which says 7 months gone, 7 years to go. And the release date for Red Dead Redemption 2 was October 26th, 2018. And then that 7 months gone and 7 years to go is 26th of May, 2026.
So it's a coincidence. Okay, that's
So
cool.
it's a very big coincidence.
Yeah, it's not. It's
Huge.
not. They weren't saying anything to do with this.
I just wanted to elaborate on what I was. What
No,
I
yeah,
was
I'm happy.
about.
I'm happy. You got some.
I managed to find it.
Jolly good. Well, we'll move on.
Came with sources.
We'll move on to the news that's actually happened in the last 2 weeks. Lewis, apparently Bungie's been a bit naughty.
Yeah, Bungie hasn't been good, or at least some former people who worked at Bungie haven't been good. Yeah, basically the general gist of what happened is the big, incredible game marathon that everyone is super excited for and hasn't had controversy anyway, has had more controversy. In that I don't know exactly how it happened, but people playing the alpha basically discovered that a lot of the assets that are being used in the promotional materials as well as in the actual game itself are all just completely lifted and stolen from an artist's portfolio from about 8 or 9 years ago. And when I say like some of the assets, like it's not, it's way worse than that. It's like a lot of this person's portfolio. And seemingly, at least according to what Bungie have said, they did come out and actually talk about this, which I rate, to be fair. I don't know if it's something they could have avoided in the first place, but it is nice to actually get some sort of transparency and like hear someone talk about it, especially someone who's like a bigger deal at Bungie. And according to them, what happened was former staff who were working on it are the ones who stole the art, and since then they have been fired, but they didn't know that they had stolen this art until like very recently. So they're claiming now that all of that art that was stolen is obviously going to be removed, and then that the original person who the art was stolen from, they're going to be like working closely with them, talking about it, maybe getting them to work on it. I have no idea. And they basically just said it's like a whole misunderstanding, and that they didn't mean to do it, and blah blah blah. Do you guys think that's true? Do you think it is a bunch of rogue bad staff who are working at Bungie who just so happen to have been fired at some point and they happen to have stolen stuff in the past? Or do you think they're trying to cover the tracks and just say it's staff from ages ago because they don't want to deal with the fact that maybe it was someone who's currently working there now, or maybe they were more aware than they're letting on in the first place? Do you know what I mean?
I'd be surprised. I don't really want to play devil's advocate, but I'd be surprised if they knew, because I'll bring up the actual art on the screen. The artist name is Fern Hook. I believe they're called
Yes.
N2 on Twitter, something like
Yes,
that.
N2 or N squared. Sorry, N
Yeah.
squared. I think it is.
So you can see the art here. So I'm not downplaying the art at all, kind of thing, but it seems like something that could have been easily replaced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for what I got from it, I actually saw it on Blue Sky, actually, the social media of choice which I use, and I looked at it and I was like, it felt like more that this was inspiration for the artists.
Yeah.
Well, it should have been inspiration for the artists, and then because like I think the work that has been highlighted it could have been like a really good mood board, like, oh, this is what we want the game to look like.
Yeah.
But it seemed as they've lifted some of that and put it into the actual game. Like I think some of the stuff which I saw was like exact combination stuff, which is hard to say that it wasn't stolen.
Yeah.
Like exact combination of sequences of shapes, like the square, triangle, circles, square,
if
triangle,
you look
circle,
at my
whatever.
screen now, look at my screen now. You can see exactly what you're talking
I've
about.
got. I can only see the
We're looking at
GTA.
GTA.
Oh, yeah, you're not
Yeah.
showing us anything.
Yeah.
Oh right, I'm
Wait,
showing you the art. Right, okay, sorry. Well, the audience can see. If you look at this blue bit here, there is a exact sequence of shapes like exactly what Niall's saying there that has been lifted and shifted straight from the art.
So what they would.
Sorry.
Yeah, they would instead of just like using it as a mood board, they would have been like, oh yeah, I'll really like that sequence of shapes as well, and then just like so they just I think they copied more than they should have done. I don't think it's completely unheard of or like against practices to take inspiration from like a collection of art and turn it into like a bigger thing, but I think they just didn't do that, and I can imagine that a lead artist who was working above the people who did this found out and then maybe let them go, but also it doesn't make logical sense for them to be let go. It'd be more like, let's change this, rather than like, we'll fire you but we'll still keep it. That's what doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. What's really funny is one of these shapes as well in the sequence is literally the logo of the artist.
Yeah,
amazing.
Is there, and one thing that was very humorous about it is in some of the art they hid a reference to Loss, and it's still in there in game.
Yep. One thing, and this is like Niall who works in the games industry, so he can at least speak about this, I suppose, a little bit. Do you not think, especially as like a lead artist on a project like this, if you're going to take inspiration from something, let's say, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and say it wasn't stolen. It was, but let's just say in this instance it wasn't. Do you not think it's at least fair of the lead artist to maybe contact the person they are clearly inspired from and, you know, using inspiration from clearly, and at least tell them like, yo, your work's pretty good. We've been looking at it for this, blah, 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 blah. Do you not think it's good to at least talk about that or at least communicate with people and then stuff like this wouldn't happen?
Yeah, well, I think in this instance, definitely, because it was less of inspiration and more like kind of just stolen. Like, because like there's like proper mad ends of the spectrum in it. Like the people of Expedition 33 didn't call up the person who made the Eiffel Tower and said, "Yo, like, can I have this?" You know. So I think in this case it leans way too much in that we're kind of just ripping this and repurposing some of it. You know, I feel like if again, like this was maybe part of a bigger mood board, because there's loads, because this is very Y2K. If there were loads of Y2K inspiration, this was part of it, and then that formed its own art style, and that'd be different. But they didn't do that.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry, go on. Lars.
Sorry, go on. No, you can go. You can go.
So yeah, I believe you said at some point in the past, Niall, to me, that when making games, it's 80% inspiration and 20% innovation or something like that. You said something like that.
Yeah, basically it works out 80% straight up copying, 15% improving, and 5% innovation.
Yeah. So the point I'm making is like you can't. Like if you're using something as a mood board, like you like that, then you don't. I wouldn't say you have to go to these people and say, you know, this is great, all that kind of stuff, because it'd take up literally all your time to do. Because everything there's very little, unless you're Hideo Kojima, there's very little originality to draw from now. So you can't just basically ask everyone's permission to say, can I use this idea? Ideas are free market, but art should be paid for.
Yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Very, very true.
Very true.
Like I said, I think
Naughty
one of the main things about it is I'm happy at least that Bungie, or at least someone from Bungie, took accountability and did say something. I think it's a bad look. Okay. Right. Right after this, we're gonna drop some impromptu news. But anyway, my point is, yeah, I'm happy that someone at Bungie, took words. Oh, sorry, it's because I just saw something on Twitter. Then, what were we talking about? Yeah, sorry. I'm happy that someone at Bungie took accountability for what happened. I think it's bad for Marathon in general because this game already wasn't having the best of publicity with just the alpha release and stuff. It was already having a bit of a bad time in the first place, and this stacked on top of it, I really don't think is going to help the game. I think it's gonna be kind of detrimental to it.
Lewis, no one's listening. We need to talk about this new news item.
I'm happy that someone took accountability at Bungie and they actually spoke about it instead of just keeping it hidden. Because they very much could have.
Right. Okay. Let's move on to the breaking news, and then we'll come back to Alex's. So Hideo Kojima reveals his next espionage game, Physint, is 5 to 6 years away. I assume that's what you're talking about, Lewis.
Yeah.
So we're not getting Death Stranding for like Death Stranding 3 for like 12 years.
What the fuck? Is Hideo? What the fuck? Is Hideo Kojima? This game's not coming out for 7 years. Why has he got a PlayStation 5 control? Like he's got a fucking
he's got a branded PlayStation 5.
No, that's a Death Stranding 2 one.
Oh right.
Oh,
Okay,
is it?
verified.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I was gonna say.
I'll put this up on the screen so people.
Brilliant.
We're pulling this from a Video Game Chronicle. Yeah.
Is it called Video Game Chronicle?
The website.
That's what the website is.
These games look called Video Game Chronicle.
No, I know.
It's called Physint.
Physint.
So it's an espionage game. So it's a Metal Gear type thing.
Well,
Right?
it's Metal Gear type game. Yeah.
Cool.
He does
Is that a new genre?
Yeah.
An espionage type.
No.
Was this game ever announced? Has this been spoken about?
I can't remember it. Go on.
Yeah, we've spoken.
It was
French
announced in
magazine, Le Film Francais. There we go.
Oh, Physint was announced in January 2024 during a PlayStation State of Play.
Was it?
Apparently so.
Apparently.
Appearing alongside Herman Hulse, Kojima announced that he was working on a brand new original IP that was a next generation action espionage game. Apparently we just all got terrible memories.
Well, I don't think we had a name for it. Now we do.
Yeah, we have a name. Is that the main update? Is we have a name for it now?
Probably that, and it's 5 to 6 years away.
Yeah.
So they're probably just starting development on it now, and it'll take as long as Death Stranding 2 took.
Yeah,
so
I believe
we'll get it 2030.
It's all coming together this now because I did see something to do with this just before we started recording. Because Kojima said that once Physint is over, he wants to direct a film.
Honestly, I'm surprised he hasn't directed a film already.
So we're never getting Death Stranding 3.
No, maybe we don't need to. Maybe it finishes the story, completely.
He finishes his story. Though he has got that magic USB stick. You know what that tells me? It tells me he doesn't want someone to have those ideas. To put your ideas nowadays on a USB
stick is risky. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a good move for sure.
No.
But I'm happy that he's done it.
I think it's a carrot on the stick for like the younger people in the studio. Like, oh, you might be the one. And then no one will get it.
It's going to be a race when he dies.
There's actually nothing on it. He's just baiting his entire
maybe he'll do like a proper mad scavenger hunt across the world for his USB stick. And all the big CEO publishers will be like hiring people to. Might be the movies.
And there'll be nothing on it.
It'll be like a shot-for-shot remake of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, there's gonna be like an MP4 on there, and he's gonna announce some crazy shit on it after he dies. It's gonna be like world changing.
Or it's just gonna be a 4-minute diss track against Konami.
No, it'll be an MP3 of him saying that he knew English the whole time.
Yeah.
And like
speaking in perfect English.
Yeah.
All this time he was hanging out with Mads Mikkelsen, the Norman Reedus, and he just didn't speak English. full well knowing what was happening. Yeah, it's nice that we've got a name. I didn't know this had been announced before. And it's cool that he's going back to his Metal Gear roots. It seems.
Yeah.
I mean, that is his baby. I guess at the end of the day, that is like what he truly loves. So I mean, I suppose it makes sense that he's going back to it. But it's also brave to be starting a game that's not going to be done for another 7 years when he's in his 60s, isn't he?
I have no
I
idea.
don't know.
I
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Can't stop George R. R. Martin.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, it literally has stopped. So.
He's
Deadly
61.
Drax. 61.
61, yeah. So yeah, he's gonna be nearly 70 when this drops. Like that's just kind of mental. Do you think this is gonna be his last game,
No.
Maybe.
or do you think
No,
he's just gonna
no.
keep going?
He's gonna keep going. He's
He'll
gonna
keep going.
If anyone's
Well,
gonna
that's
figure
him.
out immortality, it's gonna be Hideo
I
Kojima.
mean, yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Oh, one thing before we move on, because we're on the Kojima train, is that from the Death Stranding 2 first impressions that I watched and read about, the game runs completely flawlessly on a base PS5.
Oh yeah, I've seen the footage from the base.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
base
does it actually?
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Oh, actually, that's another thing as well. On a base PS5 as well. In fact, I don't know if this is true. So this could be wrong. I'll add an asterisk. It could be completely made up, but I'm pretty sure the GTA 6 trailer was also shot on a base PS5.
Oh,
Nah, Dad, they're lying. There's no way
Oh.
it's shot on a base PS5. Nah, I don't believe him.
he's lying.
It's
That's
shot-
straight up
it-
lying.
No, it's shot on like a base PS5. There's actually modded to shit. There's just not a base PS5 anymore. It's got like a base PS5 shit. I just don't believe it. I just refuse to believe that. It's just like back in the day when fucking Sony made that Killzone 2 trailer and they were like, look guys, look how real this game looks, and it just was all like pre-rendered and none of it was actual gameplay. And they said it was gameplay when it just wasn't. I just don't believe it. The lying. They're using words to trick everyone.
Yeah, they did actually say that, just to confirm. But yeah.
I was gonna say it must just be it must just show up impressive the Decima engine is. The Decima engine clearly does wonders because.
But with that, and they were asked like, you know, what technical advancements did the PS5 give you to make Death Stranding 2 better, and they said pretty much nothing. Because, well, first of all, Decima engine's so good, but also the jump between PS4 and PS5 wasn't that much, they said. So they had to focus on improvements in other areas.
The Decima engine has been used for such a weird selection of games. The list of games, there's only like 6. It's Killzone, Shadowfall, Until Dawn, Horizon Zero Dawn, Death Stranding, Horizon Forbidden West, and Death Stranding 2.
Until what? The original Until Dawn or the remake?
The original.
Because that runs like shit. That ran like shit.
Well, that's the thing. I don't really get Killzone and Until Dawn, because what Decima's really, really good at is foliage, which is what makes sense for Death Stranding and Horizon, because they're just full of foliage. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a weird selection.
Anyway, we're going to move on because thank you for that breaking news. Keep an eye on Twitter because we don't want to be caught out again. But
Yes.
we'll move on. Alex, what have you got for us?
So Nintendo dropped a bunch of info on some Switch 1 games that are getting free performance upgrades on Switch 2. A lot of them are to do with like game share, but a few of them, like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, actually look really good now.
Do they look really good?
They look really good now in comparison to what they looked like, where it looked like they were in 480p. They actually look like
they're in 720p.
I have got a comparison.
Yeah.
Image here that will.
Yeah, there's a comparison.
It looks nicer. It does look nicer.
It does look nicer.
It depends on the game. So, like for Pokemon, for example, it definitely looks a lot more clear because it is like it's being rendered. Well, I don't know if it's being rendered on at 4K, but it's definitely being rendered at a much higher resolution than it was originally. The main issue with Scarlet and Violet is the textures are dog shit in the first place.
Yeah.
Like aside from the Pokemon, which is one of like the nicest things that you can actually see those really nice textures that they made for the Pokemon in this new game, is the standard textures for the grass, the mountains, the houses, just everything in that game are already really bad. So there's only so much that a resolution increase can like fix. Admittedly, the main thing I'm excited for, at least Pokemon, is the resolution increase, but the FPS increase as
Yes.
well, because that game runs like absolute dog. Like we're talking sub 20 FPS, which is just mind-boggling.
It shouldn't have
how
even
that's
released in that
allowed.
state.
But yeah, that's gonna run at like a nice stable frame right now. But the resolution increase is nice. It looks better in a lot of other games, in my opinion, on what we've seen so far. I think Breath of the Wild, for example, and Tears of the Kingdom look significantly better, and I think that's just due to the textures and stuff being actually okay in those games in the first place. It's just they were held down and bogged down by the Switch.
Yeah.
Pokemon, I think they did the best they could. They polished a turd, really. They did the best they could with what they had. I think ZA is a much better comparison for actually looking nice. The pictures that we've seen of that running on the old Switch and the new Switch, that looks significantly better. And hopefully moving forward, Game Freak can just make a video game that doesn't look and run like complete arse. Due to the Switch 2 now, hopefully. But I'm excited to go through some of these games on the new Switch and actually play them with these higher resolutions, higher frame rates. I think it's going to be a nice time, and I think it's going to be fun. And hopefully they keep releasing and pumping out updates for a lot of these old games, because that's what it's going to come down to for a lot of them, is the studios actually putting out an update so that they, whether it's unlocking the frame rate or just optimizing the resolution and stuff, like I hope we see a lot more of those. Because there's definitely a lot of Switch 1 stuff that I would like to play, and I didn't even think about touching just because I knew it would run awfully, like Xenoblade, for example.
Yeah.
I never touched any of those games because they're really long games, and I did not want to play them on a Switch. It just was the last thing that I wanted to do. So I'm hoping to see a lot of updates for games like that, because I know you guys don't necessarily agree because you don't care about like resolutions and frame rates as much, but I think a good frame rate and a nice resolution can really amplify the enjoyment of a game by a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if it was already running like arse, like Switch games.
Listen. I don't disagree with you, Lewis. I don't disagree with you. I disagree when you start going over 60 FPS, and that's when it starts getting silly. I believe
Silly
as soon as you go over 60, it's like I just don't care. Anything 1080p 60, perfect. Don't need any more. I don't want any less. You know what I mean? If we can aim for that, perfect.
At least you kind of see the vision, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't.
You see it
My
like
man doesn't
halfway.
need 120 FPS in his eyes. I don't need it. But the highlights. I'm not going to read all of them out, but the highlights. We got Arms has got visuals, frame rate. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker visuals. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe visuals. Pokemon visuals, frame rate. Super Mario 3D World. That's getting visuals, frame rate, and game share. Mario Odyssey visuals, game share. Legend of Zelda visuals, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening visuals. So we're not getting increased frame rate in all of them, but I'm assuming that's because they already run close to 60.
Yeah.
Wait, well, sorry, what did you say?
I already assume they already run close to 60. Like Mario Odyssey, for example, doesn't need a increase in frame rate.
No, so Mario Odyssey is one of those instances where, yeah, the game already ran immaculate. Like, it was incredible.
One behind the vault.
How
They won't reveal
optimized-
the secrets.
Yeah, how optimized that game is like absolutely unbelievable. So that isn't going to change much yet. But there's a lot of game. It's This is the same with the PS5 Pro. A lot of games, whether or not they need an update, is going to be entirely dependent on how they were originally made. If the game already has an unlocked frame rate, for example, this power of the Switch 2 should fix a lot of those games. And just run it at like a higher frame rate in general. The same with the resolution. As long as like the resolution is like isn't capped in any way and it can go as high as, and it's dynamic. As long as it's dynamic resolution, the games can technically reach 4K. Technically, any game can.
Yeah.
If it is dynamic, it just depends on how the game was coded and how they made it.
Well, it seems like all of these aren't.
Well, yeah,
The visuals
So
have been upgraded.
yeah. So those specifically, yeah, that means if they've had to do an update for it, it means they've had to go in and change something. They've had to go in and physically like rewrite something or unlock something.
Yeah, but I'm in full agreement. So games for Link's Awakening, for example, the frame rate wasn't necessarily the issue; it was the frame drops.
Yes.
Yeah. So if it'll run at 60 like it's supposed to, but it just,
I mean,
it just won't drop frames.
How was Echoes of Wisdom? Was Echoes of Wisdom bad?
It dropped some frames.
Yeah, it ran pretty much the same as Link's Awakening did. It's the exact same engine.
Yeah, it's same engine.
Yeah.
I think that was part of the reason why I didn't play Echoes of Wisdom at the time, because I remember everyone saying it ran like dog shit.
Yeah.
I remember seeing clips
Well,
of it and it looked awful.
Now's the time.
Now's
Well,
the
yeah,
time.
exactly. That's what I mean. A lot of like life is going to be put into these games for me, at least. And I think that's really fun. I do want to say though, because we were reading the IGN article and I keep seeing the word, and I just need to comment on it because I think Nintendo doing this is just really dog shit on their end. HDR support for the Switch 2 and VRR support in docked has been confirmed as non-existent, and they basically just lied about it for the past 2 months.
What is that? Does that include HDR support as well?
HDR, so it's HDR in handheld.
But
The
not
hand-
HDR in docks.
No.
Interesting.
It doesn't support HDR because it only supports HDR. It only supports HDMI 2.0.
Right.
HDMI 2.0 does not support VRR or HDMI 10. So the actual HDR output on docked and the VR output is non-existent. It doesn't really work. There's going to be like a form of HDR in docked, but it's just not proper HDR, like you can get with like a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, which sucks. It's one of those things that they put it on the spec sheet whenever you read about it on websites, but then they revealed, I think it was literally a couple of days ago, they commented on it and said, yeah, it's not true. Like they removed it from the specs and said, yeah, it's only in handheld mode that VRR and HDR is actually available, which I just think kind of sucks. They could have forked out a couple of extra quid to put HDMI 2.1 onto the dock. I don't know why they didn't. I think it's really weird. A lot of like devices nowadays output HDMI 2.1, and considering this was a fresh start for Nintendo in like the newer era of games and stuff, I think it was very silly to not do it, because that isn't something they can just fix. They'd have to release an entirely new dock that supports it, and they're just not going to do that. So I just think that's a bit shitty from Nintendo. I just wanted to comment on that because it annoyed me.
Yeah, they should have been transparent from the get-go, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if they were transparent about the start, I wouldn't have cared as much, but they claimed it was this, and have now just said, yeah, sorry, we've just removed that from the page because it's not true. But it's like, why was it there in the first place? Were you just trying to trick people? Like, I don't really know what was going on there. And I know a lot of people probably won't be bothered about it because HDR, I still think HDR and stuff is quite niche. It's one of those things with 4K TVs where I still think 4K TVs in general are quite niche. But VRR is one of those things that's incredibly helpful with higher frame rates.
Yeah.
And considering the Switch 2 is boasting potentially 120 hertz, which means higher frame rates in general for that thing, it's a bit annoying that VRR isn't available because it makes games look and run a lot better, because it stops screen tearing.
Yeah.
That's the main thing that VRR does, is stop screen tearing. Because what it does is, when your frame rate fluctuates, if it fluctuates too much, faster than your screen can keep up with, it's what causes screen tearing. So it's when you turn, it causes the screen to just look really dodgy.
Yeah.
And VRR basically removes that, and Switch isn't going to have that. It will have it in handheld, but it won't have it if you're playing it on a TV and stuff. So depending on the game and how well optimized they are, you might have issues if the frame rate is too high and it's constantly dropping. It might look worse than if it was just locked to a stable, like 60 FPS, for example, which is just a bit annoying because it's meant to support 120 hertz. And it'll be a bit sad if it supports 120 hertz, but the games don't look very good in it because the frame rate's constantly dropping. I don't know. It's just one of those things that if you're really into that stuff, it'll annoy you. If you're not, it just won't. You won't be bothered.
I'm a big fan of HDR. I like HDR. When I'm buying a TV or a monitor or something, I always trying to make sure that HDR's included.
It is fantastic. It's one of those things, HDR, where people I don't think see the vision until they actually see it in action. It's good HDR as well. That's a thing that people don't see. I think a lot of people see bad HDR and sort of go, it's not that impressive. It's when you see good HDR that you go, oh, I wish everything I was watching was in HDR because this looks like unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I'll stop ranting about HDR.
No, we're good. Right, we'll move on. No, we won't. Niall, you got something for us.
Oh, you know what? Go on then. So this one is about a game called Wildgate, which had sort of like a closed influencer test slash first look. It's made by developers Moonshoot Studios and Moonshoot Games, sorry, and they're helmed by people that used to work at Blizzard. Looking at the game, you can see the inspiration. Like it looks kind of very Overwatch. As like a foundation to think about what this game is, it pretty much is Sea of Thieves in space, but with like a few key distinctions. So the first thing is that it's less of like sort of you go into an open world and you're just there. It's more of match based arenas. So you have about like 20 to 25 minutes per match. You go in, and I think close to the end of each match, so like with 5 minutes to go, something called an artifact spawns. And then the aim is for your team, your squad, your crew to get the artifact and then escape with the artifact. So, it sounds a bit like an extraction shooter, but also it's not, because all your gear and your levels are not tied to your like physical player. Like you have just like a sort of like a pocket universe inventory and leveling system. So the point of the game is to just go in, level up your stuff, and get out. If you have an artifact, I believe you get a bonus to XP. It's also class based as well. I'm pretty sure there's going to be around 6 classes when it launches, and these classes do different things in different ways. None of them are like massively unique, but like there's like one robot guy who doesn't need air, but he has to go around and find battery packs. But it's got the same things that Sea of Thieves have. Like there's a lot of manual repairs of ships. You can go into other ships and you can plant bombs, and you got to try and get out and get their ship to blow up. The main negative feedback of this game, so people say it's really good, but the main negative bit of feedback is that the time to kill is really low. So you don't really get to feel the difference in your kits because you just kill people so quickly.
Right.
But it just seems like a fun on bun, really.
I'll be real now. You've lost me, mate. When you said it was like Sea of Thieves in space, I assumed it'd be like Sea of Thieves in space. But what you've just described to me is not like Sea of Thieves in space.
But it is. You you have a ship.
Yeah, but it's not though, because like Sea of Thieves is you're in an open world. You know what I mean, and you decide what you're doing. This is very much you are doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This it has a very specific objective, where Sea of Thieves, it's the freedom of being a pirate. I know what you're saying. It's got it's got similar elements. It's it might take an inspiration from it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's Sea of Thieves in space.
Yeah, it's not like I mean it's PvPvE. So you can try and avoid players and go and plunder other things which are about. There are a bunch of other quests which spawn, which you can try and do. But like the aim, well, like the game tries to get you to engage with other players towards the end of each match, because the artifact spawns in like a central area and you've got to try and get it and get out. But before that, really, you can just go around and be a space pirate.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, the trailer looks quite fun.
Yeah, it looks nice.
It does look nice.
I reckon
it'll be good.
I don't know if it's. I think I might wait for the reviews on this one. If not, it doesn't strike me as an Oliver game, but we shall see.
I reckon it is. Yeah. Anyway, shall we move on?
We're moving on. You don't want to talk about it anymore.
People don't seem hyped.
I think it looks fun.
That's good.
I think the trailer. That's the first time I've seen the trailer, and the way you described it, I think it's fun. It's nice having like a multiplayer game that isn't. I mean, I haven't got a problem with Sea of Thieves. I enjoyed it when we played it, but I don't mind the idea of like something that's like separated into just games, like 25-30-minute runs of just like doing stuff. I don't hate that at all. I think that's quite fun.
Yeah, I don't think you've misunderstood. You misunderstood my like. I don't dislike the game because it's not Sea of Thieves. I'm just saying it's not Sea of Thieves.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also agree that it is kind of Sea of Thieves in terms of like managing a ship.
Yeah, like the mechanics of it, but it's like how much of that managing of the ship is within that 30? Is there anything outside those 30-minute games where you're managing the ship?
And do you get to like take your ship across runs? Like, do you get to take your ship across multiplayer matches, or is it a fresh ship every time?
So I'm not too sure about if the ship can be upgraded or not. I would imagine there would be ship progression. And like with everything else in the game, like it's like if you die, you still keep the stuff which you have, and you don't lose any XP or anything like that. So sorry, I was looking at Warhammer. It's distracting.
All right, so the PTR channel is subscribed to 2 channels, and I didn't know what the other one was, so I just went on it. Apologies.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was ship progression which maintained as well across runs. But yeah, I believe you can have a 4-person crew, so it works perfect for us. Yeah.
Aye, we'll see. We'll see how much it is. We'll have a look, I reckon. So we'll move on to my news story. So
Is that the big cheese?
no, this isn't the big cheese. No.
Oh, okay. I will not.
So
I'll take my finger off
you
the button.
hold off that.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about Nintendo's new user agreement. So they've made over 100 changes to the user agreement for Nintendo Online. The most prevalent of which is 1 second. I have got it here somewhere. So I don't really want to read it all out, but essentially, if you bypass, modify, decrypt, defeat, tamper with, or otherwise circumvent any of the functions or protections of Nintendo account services, including through the use of any hardware or software that will cause the Nintendo account services to operate, basically they can, and the way they word it is, Nintendo may render the Nintendo account services and or the applicable Nintendo device permanently usable in whole or in part. So in layman's terms, if you fuck about, then you will find out and you will brick your Switch.
Just to know as well, that is specifically for the US.
That is specific,
In the UK and EU, there's different laws, and they're not saying in that one that they will brick your physical console.
Yeah, the language isn't in there. It's such in the UK one, it's such unauthorized use of a digital product may result in the digital product becoming unusable, which is fine. But but obviously there's the entire world to worry about, and this is the US. Do we think they should be allowed to brick a system?
I mean, I don't think they should be allowed to do that. I think once you've bought anything, it's yours to do whatever you want with. Like, that's completely up to you. Now, you paid the money, it is yours. Do I think it's fair to put that in there to try and scare people away from doing it? Yes. It's one of those things, to me at least, that doesn't seem like it would ever actually come to fruition, or they would actually involve themselves in doing it. I think it's a fear-mongering thing.
Yeah.
I don't think they have any intention of actually following through with bricking someone's console in the case that they found out that they were like modding it or hacking it or whatever. I think it's being used as a way to say, yo guys, do not do this, otherwise I'll ruin your life.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to scare people. That's what I think, personally.
I understand the reasoning behind it, because the thing is, the only way to stop someone from pirating is to brick the console.
Yes. That's it.
That is the only way, because everything's offline. When you're on the Switch, not that I've done it, but on the Switch One, if you are pirating, then everything can be done offline. You do not. But under the old agreement, all they could really do was stop you from going online. But now they are able to.
Yeah, exactly. That I think that's the key thing. Is in the old agreement, it was only to stop you from going online, and they realized that they shot themselves in the foot because that wasn't enough of a reason to like put fear into people's like eyes. You know what I mean? Like, you need to
Switch piracy is rampant.
Yeah, you need to dissuade. Is that a word? Dissuade. Yeah, you need to basically give people a reason to not want to do it. I personally think this is silly, and it won't. I think the people who are going to do it are going to do it. They're not scared of the risks. But I think it's to get to like stop those newcomers. You know.
Yeah.
Stop the people who are bright-eyed and like, oh, I can get my games for free, and then they read that and go, oh no, that's too scary. I can't risk that.
And I've made my thoughts on piracy on the channel, known on the channel before. But in the way the things are going right now, like with the release of Doom Dark Ages being what was it on the disc, 65 megabytes or something like that.
Yeah.
So later down the lines, if the Xbox servers ever like get taken down, if
Yeah,
they
you can't
go
play
out of
it.
business, you simply can't play the game. So ownership is so buying is no longer ownership. So it's all about that question. If buying is no longer ownership, then it's piracy theft.
Yeah,
You know what I mean.
It's a topic that I'm sure a lot of people disagree with, but I agree fully. I think, especially even disregarding like people or like companies and studios actually, what's the word? I was going to say reserving the games. That's not what I meant. The word I'm thinking of, you know what I mean? Keeping like a backup of everything. What's the word that I'm thinking of? You know what? Whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless companies take this into their own hands and actually find a way to like keep these games playable, then I think it's perfectly valid. If they're not going to put the effort in to do that, then you can do whatever you please. It's just I think it's silly to punish people for wanting to keep this media alive. And I think the longer they put no effort into actually doing anything like that, the worse it's going to get. And they can't really blame people for doing it. It's just sort of the way it is.
What would you guys think about them separating digital license renting and actual ownership into two separate things and charging different amounts?
They shouldn't be. Well, at that point, they'd be admitting that digital isn't ownership. You know what I mean? They'd have to admit that, which at this point, I don't believe anyone has. Like,
I know, but what do you reckon it would cease piracy? Like if people could own the games forever if they bought it?
Yeah, well,
it would never cease piracy because someone would always try and get pirate games.
Stop it. You could definitely lessen the amount of people who are going to do it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, if the only problem with piracy is that you don't own it, then it would even be good if like you could pay to own it, right?
Yeah,
because I assume people who pirate games would still want to support the developers, is what I'm saying.
I mean that's perfectly valid as well. I think like pirating for the sake of that is perfectly fine. But I think a lot, or at least a large portion of the people who pirate in the world are countries where buying a game is just not feasible.
Yeah,
like buying one singular game is like an entire month's worth of like their paycheck. Like it's they can't afford to go and buy one game, so instead they just live through pirating stuff, which again I think is fair. Like it's not their fault that they can't indulge in this, and there's people who get horrible about this stuff and say, well, if you can't afford it, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
But I think that's unfair to say, especially in circumstances like that where it's not really their choice. They can't do anything about it, and these game studios can't do anything about it. They can't lower the prices, they can't change it. And a lot of the time the prices can't be changed due to the fact that people take advantage. The reason a lot of these games, for example, like in Brazil and stuff, the reason they don't get the prices lowered isn't because they don't want to necessarily. It's because the moment they do that, people take advantage and then start using those cheaper games in those countries to like then buy them in different countries. Then it becomes like a whole thing in itself. So I think there's a lot of valid criticism for piracy, and I think a lot of the people, or at least the majority of people who do it, there is a reason to do it. You're always going to get bad eggs who do it just because they can. Like even if they can perfectly afford to buy everything that they want to buy, you're gonna have people who are just always going to be like, I don't want to give money to these people, I'm gonna get it for free, blah blah blah. But I think a lot of the people who do it aren't malicious about it. They just don't overly have a choice. It's either they have fun and learn how to pirate and do all this stuff, or they just never have any fun with anything ever. Like they just that like portion of their life, like gaming, movies, TV shows, all that stuff, just has to completely get written off, which I don't think is fair, really.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, no one's trying to so physical media is dying, we know that, but no one's attempting to try and kind of fix that. And the only, like, with digital, like, if everything goes digital, then the only way, so first of all, you'd have to buy DRM free, so you'd have to buy it through GOG. Or something like that, and then you have to download the game in full, put it on a hard drive that is parity protected and also backed up off-site. That is literally the only way to make sure that you own that game forever.
Yeah. Which is
It's ridiculous. But whereas I've got Nintendo 64 cartridges on that shelf that have lasted this long and will continue to last. Alex has got some behind him. You know what I mean?
Preserve. That's the word I was thinking of.
Preserve.
Preserve.
Yeah. Right, cracking. Anyway, we'll start talking about piracy. So we'll move on to the big cheese.
It's the big cheese, Gromit.
That was very timely, that, Niall.
Yes,
So today our big cheese is video game adaptations, be that movie or TV. The reason this is coming up now is we've had a few news reports in the past couple of weeks regarding adaptations. Namely, the BioShock director says that they are in a pretty good place, to quote them, with its Netflix adaptation. Norman Reedus says that he would, of course, play Sam in the movie adaptation of Death Stranding. And Netflix's Gears of War movie is apparently finally moving forward with the director of The Fall Guys into direct. So I just want to talk about adaptations in general, not necessarily just them, because we've had, since the dawn of video game adaptations, we've had some pretty fucking terrible ones, and we've had some half decent ones more recently, kind of thing. So what are our favourite adaptations? Don't everyone speak at once.
That
like TV shows, TV shows. Well, yeah, you can't have a favourite one that hasn't come out, can you?
No, I'm like, it could be like a favourite one that's upcoming that you're looking forward to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You put me on the spot here, Oliver. I liked the Mario film. I thought that was quite fun. I'm trying to think of others off the top of my head. Sonic was good.
Oh.
For fuck's sake. I was watching Niall. I was watching him and he was sat stock fucking still, and I saw the little mute icon in his bottom left.
I saw him leave and I couldn't stop laughing.
I wasn't looking at the camera.
It was very good. That now, did you hear what we're talking about?
Yes, I did. Sorry, I needed a wee.
Okay, I also desperately need one, but I shall wait for the for the.
You need to set up a background
for the good of the pod. I do.
Worst wonders.
Yeah. So I'll talk about I'll talk about my favorite one at the moment. So The Last of Us, especially the first season, was a very, very good adaptation.
Yes.
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 What? Sorry, Last of Us.
Last of Us. Yeah.
Everyone's going away now.
Yeah. The second. The second season was not. It so far is not amazing in my opinion.
I have heard tonight's episode is a banger.
Oh, have you now? I'll have to watch it.
This is the only episode of the season that's been directed by Neil Druckmann, and apparently it's really good.
Oh, so, I've heard what it's actually about in terms. Yeah.
So that's exciting.
There you go.
I think season 2 has been disappointing. I'll agree with all. I think because I don't know if anyone else is watching it. Season 2 has been disappointing in terms of adapting the game. I think season 1 did a much better job at not only adapting the game, but just having a more coherent story. I think season 2, I'm not necessarily the biggest stickler for it not following the game. It's fine. It's an adaptation. It can differ. That is perfectly fine as long as it gets the general point across. I just think the pacing of this season has been really weird. Yeah. It's been really, really, really odd. And with the way they're going, there's one more episode left, and they're going to have to cover the entire day 3 portion of the game in one episode. It's just gonna be weird. And I just don't like the way that they pace this season, and I don't like how they split it into 2 parts without really talking about what it is they're gonna do with the 2 parts. I don't know. I don't know where they lost the vision with the first compared to the first season, especially. But something has definitely gone wrong in the making of the show, and it's not bad. I don't think by any means the season has been bad. No. It's just been much worse than season 1.
I think it's got some writing issues as well. That unfortunately the actress who plays Ellie is getting the flack for when she shouldn't be.
Yeah,
she's being like the character of Ellie is being wrote very strangely in this season. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to pay off later down the line. Obviously, they're stretching the story out over multiple seasons, but she's basically, at least up until this point, like I say, I haven't seen tonight's episode. Her character has been completely different.
Yeah, I won't comment on it too much because I don't want to spoil it. But Yeah, the character has been written sort of the complete opposite way that they've been written in the game.
Yeah.
And I'm not complaining just to complain. It is vastly different, and it's an issue. The main reason it's an issue is because it's completely taking away from what the whole point of the game is about. Like the whole goal of what the game and the story that the game is trying to tell relies on the way Ellie reacts to things happening and her reasoning for doing certain things, and that's all sort of been stripped away. And instead of writing a character that is basically bloodthirsty and is becoming more detached from the people around her as the game goes on, they've instead just sort of wrote her as a person who doesn't really care about what she's meant to be caring about, and it's all kind of very lovey-dovey and it's too light-hearted. And I think it's conflicting against what the story is trying to tell. It's just very odd. It's very, very bizarre.
Yeah, the game tells a very specific story, and they're not following that. And again, I'm trying not to be a stickler for, because everyone's got every video game adaptation is supposed to be different from the thing. It's supposed to be its own story, but
Yeah,
it's
'cause
just so wildly different.
I mean, it's one thing I wanted to say about the Bella Ramsey thing is I agree with Oliver in that she's taken a bunch of heat for something that isn't her fault.
Not her
It's
fault.
just the way it's been written. And I know this is true because the one scene that she did in last episode, towards the end of it, was one of the first times she's acted like Game Ellie. And it was
perfect, yeah.
done, and she did it really well.
Yeah.
Like she acted it very well. It worked really good. So it isn't anything to do with her. It's just the line she's being given
Yeah.
and the script she's being given is just very polarizing with what it's meant to be representing and showing.
Yeah, she's a very, very, very capable actress. I've never had an issue with
Yeah.
Bella Ramsey as Ellie.
Yeah.
I never have. And unfortunately, it's just a trend that's ongoing at the moment in the movie industry, where these young like actresses are getting flack for something that isn't their fault. They did not. They didn't. What they're supposed to do, turn down the casting job, or
No,
not
yeah,
read the lines
it's
the way
silly.
the lines. They're all capable actresses, and they're getting shit for no reason. But anyway, I've forwarded a list of video game movie adaptations to you. Could you all look at me blankly when I brought up the big cheese?
Well, I was gonna no, I've got answers. I was just gonna say the movie industry and TV industry seems like a very horrible place to be right now.
Yeah,
Not
no.
that it was ever good, but it seems to be getting progressively worse, especially with social media. As prominent as it is, it just If you're an actor now, you have to have like the thickest skin of all time because you're just in for a horrible, horrible ride.
Yeah, to the point where Neil Druckmann's got to coach the lead actress in his next game
Yeah,
because she's going to get
Exactly.
hate. That's fucking ridiculous. Fucking
Yeah.
just calm it down.
Yeah, it's really horrible. Gamers are cool. Last of Us, I think, should be in contention for a very good adaptation, at least season 1. Personally, for me, my favorite adaptations, and mine are all animated.
That's fine.
And I won't talk about them too much because I don't think anyone else has. No, they haven't. No one's seen any of these. But I'm
You
gonna
talk
name.
about Pokemon.
I'm gonna name 3. Yes, I'm gonna name 3 here. 1 being the absolute best, and 2 being very close, but then 1 that gets like a just sort of runners up. Castlevania, the Netflix Castlevania series, really, really good. If any of you out there like Castlevania as a game or just like the concept, watch the anime on Netflix. It's very, very good. It turns a game that doesn't have that much lore into a story that has like a ton of lore. And it really, really like enhances a lot of these characters. It's just a really good time. Second is Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Cyberpunk obviously had a terrible rough start when it came out. They did a No Man's Sky with that shit, and that game is apparently phenomenal now. I'm yet to play it myself, but apparently it's an unbelievable time. I think Niall can attest to that.
Yes. Very good.
But Cyberpunk Edgerunners was there when Cyberpunk was at its lowest, and I think it turned a lot of people back onto the game itself. It was one of those things for me where I went into Edgerunners thinking it was going to be some garbage because the game was garbage. And that made me fall in love with the world so much that I couldn't wait to play the game after the fact. Admittedly, I still haven't
You have
played it.
waited. Yeah. You must have been able to wait.
but like that anime completely changed my tone on, oh, this game probably is going to be amazing because I absolutely fell in love with the world, the characters, just everything about it. And I think if you like Cyberpunk at all, go watch Edge Runners because it's just absolutely phenomenal. And then finally, my favorite video game adaptation, I think a lot of people agree, is just Arcane.
Okay.
Arcane turns a series that, or at least like a franchise that, even though it's huge to the general public, it was a series that should never have worked, and made the general public like it, because League is a MOBA. MOBAs are a very niche type of game in the first place. Like, you have to be a real crackhead to want to play a MOBA. And they somehow turned a game that had like over like 160 characters. They turned a game that's like a over the top MOBA, very niche game, into a series that can be loved by absolutely anyone, and has brought so many people into like the League of Legends sphere who never would have even thought about touching League of Legends, purely because the show itself is that good. It's animation that you will not see anywhere else. It's writing that is absolutely phenomenal. It's music done by some of like the best musicians out there. Like, when I say the animation is good, I think it's better than Spider-Verse. Like not even close. It's like not even remotely close. Spider-Verse is like an absolutely like technical like Marvel masterpiece, but it's a movie. Fucking Arcane does that with 2 seasons, like 20 episodes, and it's like Spider-Verse quality the entire time. It's absolutely nuts. It's just a really good time. I recommend anyone going watching Arcane. Even if you're not remotely interested in League of Legends, you can watch it with a completely fresh slate, because it has nothing to do with the original League of Legends lore other than like references here and there. And it's just a really good time. I think in terms of video game adaptations, animation, at least in recent years, has been the way forward. They've done a really good job. I didn't finish Devil May Cry, but I know a lot of people like that as well. I know a lot of people hated it.
I fell off Devil May Cry. The first couple of episodes were great, but after that, it kind of just fell off.
I only watched the first couple episodes. I watched the first 2 or 3, I think. But I think the way with video game adaptations, at least in the recent years, has been animation. I think they've been doing quite a good job in getting those out there and actually doing something really cool with the medium.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was going to watch Arcane next, but now you make me want to watch Castlevania, honestly.
Castlevania's really banging. It's really good. And all the voice actors in it are like British, and it's just very funny to listen to. It's just a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's mine.
I have to give that a go. Yeah. So you can't really talk about adaptations without talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Has been really good. I've been looking at the list on Wikipedia, and I've been sorting it by Metacritic score, and there's not one that's higher than 66. It's terrible. But I enjoyed all 3 Sonic the Hedgehog films. They're stupid, they are silly, but at the end of the day, they're marketed as kids films, so it's fine. Yeah, really, I really enjoyed the Sonic. Yeah, you guys have seen them, haven't you?
Yeah.
I have not seen the Sonic movies yet.
You should watch it.
No, I need to. I've seen a lot of clips.
Yeah. And the Knuckles series was really good as well. I really enjoyed that.
You mean the Dave show?
The Dave show, yeah.
It was Dave, wasn't it?
No, shit, what is he called, Dave?
This is his name. He's
Wade.
Wade, that's it.
Wade Whipple.
I'm going mad.
Wade Whipple.
Sorry, I'm thinking of Alvin and the Chipmunks.
I was trying to think who's Dave. I was really like racking my brain.
No, it's 4 letters. I almost got all of them right.
What are you two guys' favorite adaptation? I want to know you.
Problem is, oh, go on now. You go first.
I really like the Assassin's Creed movie, the Hitman movie, the Resident Evil movies, and the Halo TV show.
Right, so he's gone through that list to pick the worst rated. Yeah, and he's just spelling them off.
No, I'm not a big fan. I mean, I really like the Mario movie. Like,
Mario movie.
Really like?
I really enjoyed it.
I still don't get how he didn't tear up when Luigi held up the shield to protect Mario. Like, legit, that proper got me, that.
I can't tell if you're joking.
No, legit. It was a proper powerful moment. Because the thing is, Luigi's a cowardless, if you didn't know. And then he stood in front of danger to protect his brother.
Dude.
So there you go.
So now it's got fuck all. Alex is with it.
Right, problem is, I start TV shows and I don't finish them. So, Last of Us, I watched the first episode.
Yeah.
Fallout, I watched the first 2 episodes. I really enjoyed Fallout. I just never finished it.
You don't really watch movies either, did you? Do you?
No, but I've obviously seen the Mario film. I enjoyed that. Detective Pikachu was fun seeing all the Pokemon like actually like in real life. Uncharted, I watched on a plane, which was kind of bad.
Mhm.
The Sonic films are good. The Minecraft movie can die.
Mhm.
Well, that's good. Have you actually seen it from start to finish?
No,
Have you? Yeah,
I've seen most of
You've
it.
seen most
Yeah,
of it, yeah.
I've seen most of it. But I don't know if anyone knows about this, but there's a Expedition 33 have been
Yeah.
greenlit for like a film.
Well, any fucking successful game gets greenlit for a film. These
Yeah,
No,
days.
exactly.
it happens
Whether it's actually
really
gonna
quickly
happen.
now. But
No, exactly.
Expedition 33 actually has a really good story to tell, to be
Yeah.
fair.
No, exactly.
I think this is one of the instances where that's actually cool that it got greenlit because it does have a very good story. I don't know how you can
Split
turn that
Fiction
into
got one as well.
Don't know how you can turn that into a 2-hour movie, but
No.
it's a good story nonetheless.
Uh,
Five Nights at Freddy's, I forgot about that. I hated that film, but
Did you
Oh,
hate
don't
it?
get me started on Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, it was so
that
bad.
film was bad.
So
Oh,
my
the
biggest,
second one comes out at the end of this year as well.
Yeah, and we will be watching.
yeah,
Will we?
my biggest issue with Five
Yeah.
Nights at Freddy's
Oh.
is that Nick Cage did a film just before it came out, and in my opinion, it was a better Five Nights at Freddy film. I can't remember what it was called.
Let's have a look at Nicolas Cage. This might be difficult to find because he does like a
Oh,
million.
Mandy? Is that what it's called?
No,
Not Mandy.
No,
No. They did one called Mandy, I think.
I think it's named after the restaurant, whatever it is. Nick Cage.
It's named after.
Willy's Wonderland. That's
Yeah,
the one.
yeah.
That if you haven't seen that film, you need to watch it. It is fucking mental, and it is, in my opinion, a better Five Nights at Freddy film than the actual Five Nights at Freddy's film.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm down for that because that's what I was excited for. Because the concept of Five Nights at Freddy's is fun,
Yeah.
but that film was just bad. It looked really good.
Yeah.
That film, I'll give it that. It looked great. It's just the story was awful. It was
Yeah.
really, really poorly paced and bad.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we've had films like Warcraft, again, not a massively accurate portrayal, but it was fine. Apparently Borderlands was shocking. I've not seen it myself.
I haven't seen it. Warcraft is one of those ones that I've been seeing love for recently, where they were like, "I don't get how this film flopped." I've been seeing like a lot of like, "Oh, this film's actually good." Is it true? I've not seen it.
I thought it was alright.
I enjoy it. Was fine. Like it was one of those that was fine. But the thing is, these people who are saying this now will be the people that was giving it shit when it first came out, guaranteed, and that's why it flopped. But yeah, we got loads upcoming as well. Like even like Dredge has been given a green light on a film. I don't know how the fuck that's gonna be turned into a film, but there we go.
Wait, has anyone seen? Actually, I doubt it because it's on cinemas. Has anyone seen the Until Dawn movie?
No, but
No.
again, I've seen
No.
reviews of it, and it's not an adaptation of the game, so
No, I heard it's completely different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
its
not
own
even
thing.
the same story.
completely.
Oliver, have you seen the Halo TV show?
I've not. No, I've not seen it.
No.
I've heard
I
bad
thought you might have
things.
seen that.
Apparently, Master Chief spends too much time with his helmet off.
Yeah, good old John.
And did he fuck everyone?
Did he fuck everyone?
In the show, I'm pretty sure he fucked. I'm pretty sure he fucks a lot.
Everyone.
No.
Oh.
Maybe you watched the porn adaptation.
No, I didn't. I just
Master
I
Chief
remember
fucks the
hearing-
universe. Yeah, we got Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Zero Dawn. These are all coming, so hopefully we get decent. Apparently, there's an untitled Portal film as well with J.J.
Yeah,
Abrams attached.
to be fair, I'm looking at this in development thing, and I do not believe fucking Jack. When did Jack and Daxter get a fucking announcement for a movie? When did that happen?
That was Alex. That.
The Portal one was announced in February 2013. J.J. Abrams was attached, but apparently Abrams confirmed in 2021 that it is still ongoing. So fuck knows what's happening with that.
No, I just saw one. Then I forgot Detective Pikachu. I enjoyed Detective Pikachu.
Yeah,
was gonna say.
we did talk.
I did speak about that.
Oh, did you?
He did as well.
Yeah.
There's a Pac-Man film as well, which is probably going to follow the roguelike version, I imagine. Surely.
Oh, probably.
I don't know how to make a film out of it otherwise. But yeah, my point with this was, yeah, the Ratchet and Clank film came out, Lewis.
No, Jack and Daxter.
Oh right, Jack and Daxter.
I said
Yeah. There was a Sly film that got cancelled, which had a full trailer and everything, which was sad.
Yeah. I don't think anything will take the adaptation crown of Pokemon anyway, because that was adapted from day one, and it's
Oh, yeah.
been successful all the way through.
Vampire Survivors he's gotten a movie adaptation apparently.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just nonsense.
And there's some that we haven't seen as well. There was an Animal Crossing movie that never got released over here.
Oh, there is. Yes, yeah.
It was like it got put on Twitter a while ago in full.
Yeah, I've seen clips of that.
Oh.
But yeah, no, my point was they seem to be improving over time, and I'm looking for. Well, to a degree.
I mean, again, the main thing that I've noticed is when stuff gets adapted, the ones that do well tend to be the ones that don't treat their audiences like idiots and just adapt the story from whatever it is they're adapting instead of just changing it completely and not being remotely similar to what it is people liked in the first place.
Yeah.
Which seemed to be the trend back in the day, was we're going to adapt this thing and change everything you like about it.
Fucking Resident Evil, man.
And just not keep a single thing. Now it seems like they are kind of learning. They're still making the mistake, but they are kind of going, oh, maybe we should just make the thing that people like, and then it'll do well. Producers just need to and directors need to get that into their head.
Well, we're an hour and a half in, so I think we'll call it there. That was the big cheese, and that was the PTR show. Anyone else have anything more to say before we close it off?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Cracking, thank you. Cheers. Until next time, we shall see you later.
Goodbye.